someone, they're 24 or whatever, and they go, I don't want to have kids.
That's saying.
Do you think that they should? It's better to at least freeze your eggs and play it safe, just in case later in life you did change your mind, or test yourself out naturally later in life still.
Okay, there's two ways to answer that question. The first is I don't believe any woman doesn't want to have kids.
Interesting. They're lying to themselves.
I really do think they are. I think...
The outside influence.
Yeah. I'm going to cop so much hate for this. So this might go viral, this reel. I don't know.
I need it. Let's do it.
I think if a woman is saying, I don't want to have kids, that's obviously her tone.
That's very accurate.
I think what I've witnessed is that those women are usually with the wrong partner. Mm-hmm. So at a subconscious level, they're just telling themselves, I don't want a child, but really you just don't want a child with him.
Or is it the single person that isn't meeting someone, so they just go, but I don't want kids
That's
anyway.
right.
And it's like...
And then it's like a defense mechanism.
Just because no one wants to be with you, maybe.
Well...
or you haven't found the person.
Yeah,
Could
it
be
might
that
be
too.
that, but it's just so not biologically normal to not want children as a woman. I've copped heat for this in the past, but the only reason we are here as a species is to reproduce. That's it. That's our job.
Basic.
Yeah. Okay. So for anyone to say that they don't want to do that, it's so against your biology that for me, I just think, no, there's something psychologically going on here, whether it's a defensive mechanism of I'm single and I just want to put this shield up and like, fuck men. And, I don't want kids. I'm fine. I'm fine on my own. No, you're not. You're not fine on your own. Nobody's fine on their own.
No, we're social beings.
Correct.
Let's be honest.
Everyone wants to be loved.
Yep.
Let's get real. I do also think as well, there is probably an element of trauma that goes on for some women, whether they've been sexually assaulted, maybe they had their own bad birth experience themselves coming out of their mum. Like, don't like neglect how deep trauma can go. I definitely think that plays a role for some women that say, oh, well, I don't want to have kids. And then, I think majority of women who do have partners that say that, it's just because you're with the wrong guy.
And I think the conversation can still be flipped also. Blokes probably do the same thing.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. For sure. So, anyway, and I think, not to sidestep because I'll come back to the rest of the question, but I do also think that's why so many couples use IVF. Because actually, you're not a great pair.
The world's being like, go different ways. Like,
yes. Nature is saying,
maybe not.
Don't think so. Don't think you're a great match, guys.
Yeah.
Could be cousins.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, that's getting dangerous now.
So, yeah, I think there's a bit of that. But what was the second part to that question? You said women who don't want kids. Oh, freezing eggs. Okay, so.
I've unlocked the beast.
You've unlocked the beast here. Let's just talk statistics for a second.
Yeah.
The average amount of cycles a woman has to do, stim cycles that a woman has to do in order to collect enough eggs to create a live birth is 3. 3 stim cycles, and I only know this because I was speaking to a client last night about it. So one cycle before rebates is $8,800. So now you're looking at, on average, let's say $25,000. That is on the basis that you, in each of those cycles, you get the desired amount of eggs needed to then create a live birth whenever you decide to choose that egg. Now, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say it's between 10 to 20 eggs. I could be wrong. If somebody wants to fact check that, go for gold. But let's say you need to have 6 to 10 eggs per stim cycle so that at the end of those 3 rounds, you've got anywhere from, say, 20 to 30 eggs in the bank, yeah? So that's one thing to keep in mind, because it's not just like they go in and they pull an egg out and they're like, see ya.
Have a good life.
Yeah.
See you when you need it.
It's a long process. It's an expensive process. 75%, or could be higher than that, but last time I checked, 75% of all eggs frozen don't get used.
Wow.
Yep. They can only be stored for 7 years. So if you're doing this at, say, 25, well, what happens when you turn 32 and you still haven't met a partner or whatever? Like, what do you do?
So unless you've gone back in at 27 and spend another 25K to extend the lifespan a little bit.
I just don't really,
okay.
you know? The de-thawing process of eggs is pretty bad. So what that means is the amount of eggs that get collected versus that survive the thawing process to then become an embryo with a sperm is very low. Mm-hmm. So again, like if you only get, let's say you only get 2 or 3 eggs per stim cycle. So now you've got 10 in the bank because you've done 3 cycles. Mm-hmm. But only 1 survives the thawing process. Mm. Okay, so now you've got 1 egg that they still need to create an embryo with. That's like another step in the journey. Even statistically, that is quite low.
Yep.
So it's not really great odds here. A lot of women also don't realize they still have to go through IVF if they want to use those eggs. So as a 25-year-old, are you comfortable with going through IVF at 32, 33 in order to use that egg? I don't know. I would say a lot of people might not be.
They may not even think that far to bring that into the conversation.
No. I also think that, and this was the conversation I was having with the client last night, I think that if you're a woman and you're 34, 35, before the age of 35, what are you doing? Why are you collecting your eggs? Like, you have so many fertile years left in you. Like, it's okay. You don't have
breathe.
Yeah, like just relax. Yep. But if you're 34, 35, you don't have a partner and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I want to have 2 or 3 kids. Why would you freeze your eggs at 34, 35? Knowing everything I just said, statistically, it's a very unlikely scenario you're going to get a live baby. Why would you just not start the IVF process?
So just skip a step.
Yeah.
Wait, skip a step.
Yeah, like I remember I had a conversation with a client years ago who was 37 at the time, and she was telling me, I'm going to freeze my eggs, career woman. I'm going to freeze my eggs at 38, and I said, okay, so when do you want to have a baby? And she said, well, probably by 40. I said, well, why don't you just have a baby?
Like the timeline adds up to just...
What's 1 or 2 years?
Yeah.
Just have the fucking baby.
So when do we actually see a massive need, quote unquote, for these strategies versus just being like, you can still do it naturally and it'll work?
I think these types of, like, let's say egg freezing, I think that's a pretty amazing technology if a woman is like about to go under chemo, and she very likely will not be able to conceive naturally. Yep. Post that treatment. Fine. If it were me, I'd be doing the egg freezing. But like, kind of beyond that, I'm like, I don't really get it. I don't get the desire to freeze eggs just purely based off how bad an outcome women have. And then obviously the older you are, the worse those outcomes are. Yep. Because your quality is, supposedly worse. So, and like I've said this so many times to clients, and I feel like when I say it, it's almost like it then makes it come true, which is even weirder. But like, you don't know when you're going to meet your knight in shining armor. Like, you could be 34, freaking the fuck out, going, okay, I'm going to freeze my eggs because the fear has kicked in and the system's got me. And then 6 months later, you might meet your man. And then 6 months after that, you get pregnant naturally. And then you're still only 35.
You're like, tick, tick. Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, we're we really need to like control things now, and I get it. Obviously, I'm talking from a place of privilege. I've been with my husband for 11 years. Like, I've never been in that sort of position where I've had to think about that. But like, you can't control everything. Like, just what will be will be.
Head over to Jordan Checker Podcast to get the full exclusive experience.